This is Political Psychology, and I'm your professor, Dr. Patrick Stewart. In this lesson, we continue analyzing how biology and media technology interact in the political arena. We do so by looking at how body movement communicates information to others. Body movements provides information to others whether they are followers, potential followers, the opposition, or just curious onlookers. Because the connection between politicians and the general public is mediated, understanding how public figures present themselves nonverbally will help us understand what messages that they are trying to convey, and the ones that they might be trying to hide. Self-presentation matters, and distance influences how people perceive another person. For instance, the larger body movements such as postural shifts influence perceptions of social status as well as impressions of the size of a public figure, which in turn feed back to influence those perceptions of their social status. This information may be seen as extending over a long period of time, or may be more fleeting in its impact. In this case, context matters in how information is interpreted, with social status influencing perceptions of contemporaneous nonverbal signals. Regardless of proximity, nonverbal behaviors influence perceptions, although the closer one gets, the more information one receives. Up close, the touching behavior of haptics affects perceptions of intimacy, often with the assumption that love and sympathy are involved. However, the act of touching can be coercive. While still close, but often a wee bit further away than where touch occurs, facial displays are highly important for an individual's survival. These displays do so by communicating the emotions and behavioral intent of anger, fear, disgust, sadness, happiness, as well as a multitude of variations of these emotions and intentions. Further away, we can still identify pride, awe, shame, embarrassment, and guilt of an individual by how that person's body is held. The work of the Dartmouth group of scholars who studied nonverbal behavior in both non-human and human primates is instructive. By observing and classifying behavior, the Dartmouth group was able to consider the dimensions of dominance and submissiveness, as well as whether the behavioral intent was agonistic or affiliative. Frank Salter built on this work by developing a 2x2 matrix. This approach is useful for considering the whole array of emotions and behavioral intent, as can be seen on this slide, and can be applied to a broad range of nonverbal behavior, including, of course, posture. Those individuals holding their body in a more upright position, with their chest out and head tilted back slightly, are seen as more dominant, and if they lean forward, this is associated with threat. On the other hand, those having their shoulders pulled forward or inwards are seen as having less dominance and are often perceived as indicating the submissive and even evasive emotions of embarrassment, guilt, or shame. Furthermore, those who swayed forward and backward or shifted sideways were attributed as having less competence and as indicating evasion of conflict. The more affiliative emotions of happiness, reassurance, which are involved with the broaden and build political strategy, is much more relaxed. On the other hand, one way of obtaining support from others is the tend and befriend political strategy, which involves sadness and appeasement, with lowered shoulders, slumped body, the chin lowered, and the body oriented away from others. Posturing up in a dominance display can be seen with President Donald Trump in his 2018 State of the Union address. Here, he discusses his wall that fully secures the border against illegal immigrants. In this video, note the cluster of nonverbal behaviors, with not just posturing up in response to the observable audience response by congressional members of the chamber, but also the closing and buttoning of his suit jacket and his facial display of contempt as his left lip corner is tightened and pulled up.
The first pillar of our framework generously offers a path to citizenship for 1.8 million illegal immigrants who were brought here by their parents at a young age. That covers almost 3 times more people than the previous administration covered. Under our plan, those who meet education and work requirements and show good moral character will be able to become full citizens of the United States over a 12-year period. The second pillar fully secures the border. That means building a great wall on the southern border, and it means hiring more heroes like CJ to keep our communities safe.